password is
thinking about modifying my stream intro to be like this crazy little video. And also, I got to get my music off of YouTube. I mean, I have it, but I need to start. Here we go. All right, starting morning off fresh. Good. Let's see. All right, here we go. Today is Sunday. Put the hat on. Got my drink. Having Ticino because I've gone insane. Maybe I gone insane because I stopped drinking coffee maybe 11 days ago. So I'm having non-caffeine teas now. Feels great. So you don't need to see the big version of me. So we'll get that out of there. So we've been doing this for a couple days now. I've been doing this for a while. Making network code. Probably not the most entertaining thing, but you could take this as an educational deep dive into someone's first attempt at making third or fourth attempt at making network code. So I got it to get all the way up to this point. It detects the client, but I'm not syncing across. So for me, I think the next step is really just get this client to finish his I'm connected, put me in the lobby, state changing. So I've gotten it to the point where it sends that first packet that says, "Hey, you're connected." So what I'd like to do is have the client show that the client's connected. And I'm doing this like debug thing on the side where I got stuff here, and it's just stupid, right? But it's here, and maybe I'll add an additional layer to the module, which will be like the UI layer, so you can draw on the front of the screen instead of the game canvas. So then you can have UI elements, you can click on them a lot easier. But for now, I not rushing into that. So my debug variables will be here. The idea is that if you connect as a client, I want it to show you as a client, and I want it to display your client state. So let's do that first. I try to make some to-dos, and I hate having this huge to-do list. I'm not doing anything on it. Let's move all this stuff away, and I've got this stuff here. Maybe the way this is supposed to work is you're supposed to move it to the done column. Yeah. Move it to the done column. There we go. So I'm trying to build out a to-do list and a kind of a workflow that I could show on stream that I'm making some progress. We'll see if that turns out to be useful or if it's just kind of a gimmick. Let's do this. I almost don't feel like pressing the button, but... Oh, am I smart? That was my to-do queue. I started pulling... Oh, no, those are all done. That's done. That's done. That's done. That's done. 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 Okay, so I didn't mess up. This needs to go in here. All right, so today I want to do a client joins lobby, show state, spawn player. That's one of them, and the other one is sync unit position if it changes. All right, so we're gonna see some networking code today. Now, one of my goals is to, I'll move this over here. There we go. We'll add a section called spacer. I don't like staring at a dirty to-do list. So we'll start off with these. I think I could finish these in less than, I may be able to do it in an hour. And at some point it might be fun for me to just make a few tools for the stream that could, be nice add-ons. Maybe make a bot. I'm going to write it all in C though, so we'll see how that goes. And what else? Yeah, that's just kind of the thought process here is I want to get these things done, and then I will keep on pushing along on my later list. But I don't want a big stack here. And then I might make some plugins. So let's go. First step is the lobby. I really need to have a lobby, and all it is you're going to be able to run around and practice attacking and stuff. So it's not like a place where you take damage. It's just a place where you wait before the game starts. Which means I also need to fully flesh out that I need to have GM UI render. I need to add rendering for the game module for the UI, because right now the way I do the rendering happens in here, and I call the VM and it does its rendering, but I need to do another one down here, which is the stuff that's drawn directly on the screen, which is typically going to be your UI. If I do any sort of virtual scaling, then actually this is where I'm drawing that. If I do any sort of virtual scaling, I might need to modify the way I'm drawing things, and it could just be that I just have another virtual texture. So I'm probably going to I'm going to go that route. I'm going to make another render texture, and it will be the UI portion of the game module, because I don't want to have the engine be the place where I have to write my UI. I want the engine to be the place where I kind of split things out. So, everybody loves diagrams, right? So I have the original over there on my whiteboard, but just to make it simple, I'm going to draw some boxes. So this is the game module, and this is going to be our engine. And this is a DLL, and this is an EXE. And so these two things are going to talk to each other. They have ability to communicate back and forth, so they're in communication. The engine's going to handle all of the things that may be platform specific, and the module's going to have no idea about the platform. And that's to make it to where all my game logic and everything stays consistent. And then here it's, it can be changed, which does pose a little bit of a problem for the network code. We're not going to waste too much time on that unless people really care. So let's go. First off, I have a change multiplayer status, which is the way to go from being in the lobby and not in the lobby, and it's this multiplayer status here. So in GM render, I'll start out by adding to my debug text here if multiplayer status equals I believe so that's game state multiplayer lobby. That is one of my states. Yes, so we start from not connected and then we go to that one. So you know what, let's just do, I'm gonna make this an enum because it works better with the switches, is what I've noticed. And I don't really need the states to have numbers. It's not that important. Okay. Okay, we'll call this multiplayer state. And this is how I'll switch between, if you're not connected, you're in the lobby, you're in game, and then there might be like one or two more states, like just a handshakes to get your initial connection set up. Like you might have one where it says you're not connected, and then you're connected, and then you're given access to the lobby. So what I want to do is, as soon as I get the confirmation from the front end that I have been connected, I will change the state to connected on my end, and I'll have the server change it, so then they're in sync. And then when the server knows that you're connected, he's going to say, okay, I want you to now join the lobby, and he's going to send that request. So he's going to change your state, make you in the lobby, and then I'm going to have the client try to get into the lobby every 5 seconds, if in the connected state but not the lobby state. And so what that'll do is it'll help ensure that we eventually make it there if I have any issues along the way. So we'll do a switch. Case break. All right, here we are. I always seem to forget how to write switch statements. I don't know why. Okay, we've got open, close, break. Yeah, okay. We're good. So if multiplayer status is multiplayer lobby, then I want to draw text to show that. And up here, I think I went down, how much am I incrementing? 50. So I went down 50, so we'll do 50 for this. And then we'll say lobby. And then prepare for the future, right? So then we have in game. All right. Looks like I've messed something up. Okay, we got our server going. Right here, I click client, I say not connected, I'm connected, and then here's the problem. I'm connected. How'd I get set to connected? So I need to figure out where that happened. And also I need to get rid of all these key input stuff because I've already tested my key logic. If I need to do it later, I can. But so mouse input, key input. We'll leave it this way so it's just easy to get to later. I'm sure I will be debugging this again later. If I want to create a crazy system, I can, but I'm fighting the urge to be OOP. Okay, so I'm clicking stuff, we're good. I still have the COM event loop triggering, which is okay. COM event loop. The stuff that works, I don't need to print anymore. So like for example, here, this works. I don't need to print it anymore. Do another one. Okay, we have key pressed and key released. Something crashed, that's fine. Key pressed. There it is. All right, there we go. So now I'm going to have a clean output, which will make it easier to do the debugging on the networking code. I think it's time to write some buffers for logging. So why don't we do that? Write your own log buffers. Turn off and on individual logs easily. Just getting tired of how much of a hassle it is. Like I should be able to just, put in some sort of int here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 or something, and just be like, oh, this is debug, this is regular, and go with it. I guess I'll have to write my own arglist thing for this, whatever. It's not gonna be hard. Because just use printf. Okay, let's keep going. I don't have everything open, that's why. So here's the network code, some of the basic network code. And in here, I'm sending packets to the client. And in here, I think I have one called change multiplayer status. Yes, here it is. So I'm receiving the packet to change the state, and it will change my state. Let's see what happens. Do we land here? Yesterday we did, so I just want to see what's going on. We got a new state of 1. Okay, and that's good. So what is 1 in my enum up here? Because I changed this to use an enum. So 1 is connected. So what am I sending? Am I sending a 1? I am. I'm sending the fact that you're connected. So when you're connected, you get your state changed to connected. And then I need to put the player into the lobby. So once I know the player's in the connected state, and they know that they're in the connected state, I'll send another packet back that says, hey, put me in the lobby. And if there's room to join the lobby, you join the lobby. Otherwise, you get booted. So this is GM player connected. So the player's connected, they get there. That thing. So now I want to run through our process connected. It should be in here. Oh no, it's in netcode. Okay, over here. GCnet. So here the client's going to receive the packet. We receive a packet. In here. That queues an event with the packet. So I'm going to receive... Oh, actually I was already where I needed to be. I just need to send a packet from that update event. So send packet to environment or here. Blocked. So when player connected, we eventually down here. What am I doing? Like, am I like falling asleep? There we go. So when the client is processing the packet says change multiplayer state. Once this happens, I want to request to become or to join the lobby. So I think I called it P underscore. So we have change multiplayer status. So now we need P client server attempt lobby. And if it works, we get in. If not, okay. GM send. So then I have like functions to send server, trap send packet to server. And in here, I'm going to send the packet and the packet length. Okay, great. So let's see what we did elsewhere to set up the packet so I could follow a simple pattern. So we did all this. Jump back here, and we go through our packet buffer. We are going to send P underscore client server attempt lobby join. And I don't need a second value. I'm just attempting to join. Then it's going to go and send that. Derp. There's a problem here because now I'm changing the state, but I need to check the state that we were changed to. So that would be up here. Connected. So if we are connected, then we're going to try this stuff here. Okay. Great. So we don't need to send that. We're just sending explicitly what they're trying to do. That packet's going to come through. and it's going to go through the server's version of this. Great, so we're just about good. Then we're going to send a change multiplayer status to lobby because we're not really trying to do anything crazy. So we'll find where I have it over here. And it might be worthwhile to just make this a method. I will. I'll do that right now. The only input is client ID. Everything else is input would be client ID and game state. This thing. Okay. Then we get rid of all this code. No, this code stays. It's this code down here. So all of this would then turn into this open client ID, and then we want to change it to this status here. Get rid of all of this. There we go. And we go up here, do the same thing. Client ID. So by now I should know my client ID. So that would be player client ID. No. We don't change. No. No. This code stays. It's this code. Where's the server? Process server. Client, process pack. Okay, so this one here. This is the one where we would put this in here. Not this, but the new method. Internal. Client, attempt, server, lobby. I should have the client ID from this, but I don't think I will. So it worked all the way up until when I attempted to use it. I have the packet here. Maybe I could put client ID as part of my packet. I mean, I gotta know who it is at some point along the chain. Server, so this is in DLL main. We get in here. If I have the user send the client ID, then it's they can really mess things up. It would just take a second for them to figure out how to spoof other players. So I have to match. I have to fetch the client ID based off of the peer. And here in this, I don't have the peer. Also, I'm not passing the peer across. Yeah, this is where the problem is. How do I know who's who when I get here? But here I know. At this point I know. Because I'll get this packet and I should have client ID. So where am I storing client ID? Am I doing that here? Pretty sure I'm doing it here. It's in NetWin is where I'm assigning it when they connect. Then they assign it to themselves. And then I have a client list in here for the server in game state pointer. In here I have client ID. So the problem is that I'm not going to know. I guess I just gotta. I need to know where the packets are coming from, and I can use the peer data. All these fun little issues you come across. So I have peer here, and the way I was connecting or matching on peer, I did this somewhere else where I was matching on peer, something in peer. I think I was calling it like inbound ID, which is like, I don't think it's a good thing to bounce off of. Yeah, so I find it. Okay, so I could use the peer ID. What is peer ID? Is peer ID going to be something? It's a uint, it's a short. Unsigned short. So I'll pass that as part of the event. And here, so we receive a packet. We have data packet, which is net packet. We're going to call this peer ID. Okay, so then we go back to here. This is data packet. Yes, okay, so when I receive from here, peer ID equals peer dot incoming peer ID. Great. So just gonna add that to the server. Connect. And here as well. Now I have the peer ID as part of this. So when the game engine at the front here gets it, it can put it as the ID in the packet queue that it's doing. So then we've got here this right here. So sending in that packet, let's do packet dot peer ID equals -1. Let's do, I'll do -1 because I don't know what that peer ID is yet. Sysqueue, we're going to send value 1 as the peer ID, cast it to an int. Peer ID. And then here we'll do the same. Okay, great. Now we got our packet over here, and we're sending the packet, and now we're going to include the peer ID, so which that would be value 1. Now when I receive a CL packet, I will also have a peer ID. And then I can, let me just verify that that's what I did. Yep. Okay, so now I have my packet, I got my peer ID, and then I can make part of my process here is do int packet or peer ID, jump back, packet will have peer ID equals the peer ID I gathered. We'll put a breakpoint here just to see how this works. See if we're getting anything. Change multiplayer status, peer ID. Jump in, change this to peer ID. Send packet to client. So I need to fetch the peer ID. Kind of doing a little ping pong, but that's okay. Okay, and we do I have peer ID. But player client. But clients have they have wherever I set client ID, I should set peer ID. That's it. Find all places we set player connected. This is probably the wrong way to do this. Client connect. Man, this is such a pain. Okay, so then I'm gonna find where we're doing client connected. Right here. So we'll do EV value 1, EV value 2. Then we find out where we're doing this. Okay, pop you over to space 2. Get back over here. So my data packet that I've received. So when I connect, I'm going to have the peer ID. So that's going to come from event packet. So I'll just do event dot peer dot incoming peer ID. Great. And that goes all the way through. Watch. Lauren says, watch 1 minute. This is probably the wrong way to do this. Every day, dev always. Yep. If there's a dev who knows everything and gets it right the first time every time, I would be amazed. Okay, so it's coming in. Got our client ID here. I don't know why I called it value. Probably because I have the client ID somewhere else. Okay, so that's done, that's done. This compiled. Let's compile the engine. The engine is fine. Modules. The module's the one that has the problems. Okay. That's fine. Okay, so there's some problem somewhere. Server process packet. Packet has peer ID now. So we're going to do packet peer ID. Put a breakpoint there to make sure I have it. And then this one here is missing the client ID, but we're going to get client ID from matching on peer ID here. So peer ID equals peer ID. And if they match, then we would have int client ID -1 equals -1. Greater than or equal to 0. We can send it. Otherwise, we do printf. And call it a day. I should probably work with the things that tell you to line in the file. Print out messages. Lauren says, good luck, man. Gonna watch some anime. Have a good one. You too. So yes, I want to do the method name in there, so at least know. Okay, redefinition. So we need to, this needs to be at the top. The top. Too many arguments for call. GM player connected. It changes to int peer ID, client ID. Go back. We got it both. Great. Everything compiles. And we'll run this. Good. Good. Not connected. One of these is going to crash. I could feel it. Didn't hit my breakpoints. So I wonder what it is. Let's see where we're at. This is not good. What did I fry? I probably don't even know what I messed up. Okay. So this is the server. We're going to want the client. I want to verify that I got connected. So we're going to go here. Client. When we, no, this isn't it. I need to receive a packet that is changing my state. So let's verify that we're getting those packets first. Nothing. So that means that we're getting caught early. Have you ever developed a web before? I'm happy to answer your question. I just don't understand your question. Okay, so we're not sending out packets anymore from the server, and that's the problem. So you connect, and then you send something out. So let's break up on here. Hit this, pop this one up. This will be client this time. This one will be server, and then client. I hit here, and incoming peer ID is 0, and the client ID is 0. So we're good. We've got a client connected event, so that's going to trigger the server to do the client connected code, which is going to call the VM, which would land me here. Okay, so I'm here. I've got peer ID 0, key ID. We go into GM player connected, go through all this, and if we find the client, we return connected, dropped false. So something is wrong here, because the client's not connected at this point. So let's start it over. Okay, we're here. Client connected, peer ID, val. I have my peer ID, and it says 65535. And here it says 0, so that's just because that wasn't initialized to 0. So go back to here. Peer ID is -1. So where am I getting peer ID to be a varying level value? Zero, 0, jump into here. Peer ID, client ID. How? No, these should be set. Okay, they're set. Hey, Freestyle, welcome back. So somewhere we're adding it. So why don't we just do this? Get past it. Null pointer. Interesting. Yeah, I totally messed up my networking code with what I just changed. We added peer ID to client connected. Didn't have it before. It's at 0. When we get a packet, we're getting peer ID as well and showing that. So that looks fine. I don't need the diffs. I just need inline. Or I don't need complex diffs. Okay, so we added e value to this, and CL packet's going to take that. And then client connected, we added e value 1 and 2. So let's see what here. Yeah, we added 1 and 2, so that works fine too. And then client connected, here we're taking value 1, value 2, so that's fine as well. Incoming peer ID Let's check here too. And then that looks good to me. You know what? I think I know what it is. Okay, so it's an unsigned short, and there's a chance when it crosses the barriers I'm messing it up. So both of these packages should be unsigned shorts. Good. Okay. All right, I'm going to try this again. Go from the server route first, and then we'll jump to the client route. Okay, we get here. We have a peer ID of 0. Fine. We get here, still 0, 0. I go through this, and it's acting like I already have a player client. When did we add that? That's the problem. We're adding it. We're adding it before the client's connected. So there's some code that's messed up in the server that's setting that first guy, and I think I know what it is now. It's the initialization code. So let me find my player clients list. So here I need to actually not have them initialized to 0. They need to be initialized to -1. So the player clients here, game state, player clients, client respawn time. This needs to be client ID equals -1. There we go. And then I need to figure out where I'm changing the length of this. So if I'm the server, we're going to make the length equal to 1. And we're going to get the 0th position player client. And that's going to be the server. So the issue is that I'm sending client ID 0 when that is not the player's client ID. And it's also the other issue is that when the client connects, we're not sending them their client ID. So if the client sends us a client ID, it's already messed up. But that's not how we're doing it. We're doing it based off of peer ID. So let's run this and see if anything works with that correction. Okay, so we'll go to the next one. And that's here, so client ID is 0. There shouldn't be any clients. We make one, and we get an error. Interesting. So length is 0, capacity is 10, index is -1, -1. How did I get -1? Okay, so, and that's length 1. Index is -1. Am I not tracking here? What's going on? It's all right. This is just par for the course, really. So we come in here. We've got client ID 00. Going through. We've got the length -1. How on earth is this length -1? There's no way. Okay, so then there's, when I'm initializing this, there's not getting mem set to 0, so there's some problems. So we'll force it. We'll force it to set the length to 0 then. It shouldn't be -1. That's just wrong. Oh man, I feel like I might have messed something up. And it's not a trivial thing. Length 0. Still 0. I wonder if I can set a breakpoint. Alright, well whatever. We're going to just jump around until it's -1. Something's wrong there. It's already -1. And so is client ID. Something's wrong here. So this is the server. The server does not have, like, nothing's working. All right, so I have no idea what that is. I don't want to say it, and I'm about to just time those people out. All right, we'll just block you. I'll put you in a timeout, those two people. And if they keep spamming whatever they're spamming, I will ban them. Actually, you know what? I'm blocking them. I don't need retard chat on here. Oh. Peer ID. I'm still passing in that. This should actually be this. Should always be peer ID now. Okay, great. So there was a bug. I still have a bug in here somewhere. I will find it. Okay, so somehow it's telling me that the length of my my thing is -1 in the server. It's telling me my client list is my player clients, game state pointer, player clients is 1. Client ID -1. Okay, why don't we find it? So if they're equal, then we do client ID. Just for when later that gets good. We jump here. So player connects. We check to see if and then here create a new one. So we want a breakpoint here. I want to see if this is happening at some point. Then I need to see where I'm using player clients and seeing if I'm doing any more of these length plus pluses anywhere. I also need to see where I'm referencing this in the code to see if I'm doing anything at all. And I was doing something for the server, which I deleted, which was something right here. No, this is going through all of them and setting their values, and we set a client ID to minus that, and we could do peer ID equals -1 and client dot. So that's all fine. Then we have the next one, which is this is where everything should start. Going through here, we get our clients allocated capacity length 0. This one's set to that. Jump into here, we allocate the arena. That's great. Here it's still not 1. I would say by the end of this it's still not 1. So we'll do that real quick. Start the module. F10. Okay, so we're not hitting this ENET. Okay, great. Start the module. Still length 1. Down here, it's now -1. So from here, from up here to down here, we have lost. We've gone from normal to the -1. So there's it's easier to track down now. Okay, so in here it happened. In here, so something about my memory is getting corrupted. I'm overwriting memory, I think. Okay, so we're at that. We jump through this, and the capacity is 10. Oh, no. Player clients, that's fine. The issue is that the amount is changing in here. So I changed this. Okay. That's weird. I added that peer ID. So I think, yes, okay. This is easy. If you're watching and you want to tell me what's wrong, just look at this. You'll figure it out. I'll give you a second while I drink some tea. So what's going on is I didn't allocate the right thing. I allocated the wrong type. So I got size of this other type, which, it worked for a bit, and then things started messing up. So we started accessing memory we shouldn't, and then that caused some values to change in my game state pointer. That's fun. It's not a horrible bug. I'm happy I was able to figure it out. So we'll do the little walkthrough again. And yeah, we're still at -1. So that's messed up. There's got to be another thing here that's messed up. So let's do a build, make sure it's the latest. I double check all this. So player clients is that, and then alloc arena is using that. It's using the correct thing. Entity. Yes. Okay, so let's try it again. It's rough. Okay, so okay, I figured it out. It's the way I'm accessing this. So player clients, because I'm not using the tool, it should be accessed like this. Oh man, that is bad. Let's see if I'm doing that anywhere else. Nope. And then let's try with gotta love it. I was messing up a lot of stuff. Can't believe myself sometimes. Okay, we're here. Going through. Length is still 0. Still 0. We get past this loop. It's still 0, which is what we want. We continue. We continue. All right. Server. We set this one up as client. We get in here. We've got length 1, capacity 1. We're going through. And we now make that. Yep, good. So we're going to run it now without the debugger and see which one crashes. None of them crash. We're back to stable state. We're in the lobby. That's even better news. That means that all my like assumptions and things worked because I was able to get us from not connected to connected to in the lobby. That's pretty good. Okay, so I can move around. The next step would be me moving around and showing the position. So I got the player in the lobby. When the player's in the lobby, I can then say, hey, you need a unit. So I can have the client say, hey, I'm in the lobby, make my unit. And then we make its unit, we assign it an entity ID, we create it, put it on the screen. They're able to move around. Once they're able to move around, I'm going to then make sure that I send the game state. That's what I'll do. When you connect to the lobby, I'll send the game state to you. And what that will be to start will be all the entities and their position and their type. Make it simple. Okay, so we've got client joins the lobby. That's done. We've got it showing the state. We need to spawn their player. Let's spawn their player so they can move around. Ask for player, spawn their player on the server, send them the player, then have them send packets to the server where they are. It seems like a lot of work, but once you do a few of these, it gets easier. I'm noticing a pattern emerge, and I'm working out the bugs, and it's just getting easier to do. So we're connected. So there's another one where we're in the lobby. So when the client becomes in the lobby, I would want it to do something. Whereas when the client becomes connected, we have it do this. So I would do else if and just kind of mimic this block. So this is the packet. We're going to say client server in lobby need entity. And the server can maintain your last entity ID, so if you reconnect, you should be able to get back to the same thing you were controlling before. So we'll go and say, this is what we want. I want an entity ID. Sends it. Server will get that packet. Then it will send you back a packet with your entity ID. But when you enter the lobby, we need to send a packet to you after this first packet. Update your state to that. We send you... So I need to send 2 packets at this moment. I'm going to send the game state, or the thing to change them to the lobby, but I also should send them the game state. So to start, let's get them an entity ID. So here we say we need it. There's not much to it. So now I would go back into here, server attempt lobby. So we tell it, hey, I need that. And we say, do the same thing. And we say internal create or give entity ID. Do packet peer ID. And then we break. That. Okay. So we're in the server. I kind of want this to be above that. There we go. So we're in here. We got process server packet. We've got the other case stuff down here for client. So I'm telling the server that I'm in the lobby now. I need an entity ID. I get you an entity ID. And then I send you it. So you know what? We'll do what we did with this other one. So the change multiplayer status. We'll do this. It'd be a similar method. And the outcome of this is to go through or figure out if the client already has an entity ID. If it does, send it back. If it doesn't, we need to give it one. So we go through this, and here we've got packet sent to the client. We are actually going to write the packet down here. Create unit, we'll do entity type, will just be the king unit for now. We'll put you on team 1 at position. Let's do 75, 175. Great. We get your entity ID equals that. Oops. We'll just do this. Copy. So we write packet, send packet to client. Okay. So if I did everything right, then we should have I mean, if I don't find the client ID, it's gonna bust, but we shouldn't have been able to get this far. So now I'm gonna create a unit. And then I need to say what it is. So it's gonna be P underscore server to client, give player entity ID. Give player entity ID. And then this we should just change to server client. There we go. Have them be organized by server to client, client to server. So we've got that good. And now I need to send the entity ID, so that would be entity ID. Okay, great. So now we're sending very little packet information. It's going to that specific client ID. Goes across the line. They receive it. They're going to receive that packet, server to client. So let's look at the other one here. We'll add a new one. Case P server client. Give player entity ID, break. So I would do great. We've got ourselves our entity ID. We've got our packet, which has a client ID. So now we can fetch from our list here. At some point I'll write a method to do this part of looping through and getting the client ID or the player client. So I am the player. So I actually don't need this because I have a player client already. But I don't know if I've wired it up yet. But I do have a player client. So let's come back to this. If I'm the server and my player client ID is null, I'm setting it. Oh, no, we don't need player client. It's the game state pointer has like the thing that says what your entity ID is. So that would be entity player entity ID. We equal that to int val, and now you should be controlling this thing. Too few things to call. Okay, we don't need multiplayer status in here. Take this, go to the top, case go. All right. A lot of work, but should be able to give it a kind of a swing here. Turn off my breakpoints. Okay, server, client, and bam, there I am. I'm in it. I'm this thing now. So the thing to notice is that the server is going to have an extra king unit somewhere. I have to find it. It's probably hidden. So the fact that I can control this guy here is good news. It means I've been given the entity ID, but I haven't been given the state. So I'm at a point where once the player has entered the lobby, I can regularly give the player updates from the server. So that means I can have the server update all these entities' positions, only if the positions change, so we don't get a bunch of junk. We're going to update them via index, because I just want it to be fast, and it will be fast. I got to see where I'm creating that unit in the server, though. So let's take a quick look. Create unit, spawn a new unit. I'm spawning you at that XY position. You have all your stuff, so you should just work. And when I create that unit, what's the value, right? So in here, I'm in GM update. Spawn the player. This is not the one. It's this one here. So let's get this to be 200, 200. That'll be a new spot for everything. I will jump in again, start the server, and I'll stand about here because I should be able to see 200, 200 coordinate. Okay, client comes in, client connects, and no unit was made. There's a guy here, but that's a different reason. That's something else. So what is going on? I guess I should look for where I'm using create unit and see if I've got another create unit happening that shouldn't be happening. So I'm spawning a new one because of the timer, and I'm going through all the guys in here. So when I added a player, no, it's the player client here, right here. So each game client, if it doesn't have an entity ID, I created a new unit. That's the problem. So when you connect, there's a new unit made, but it's not actually your unit. But I am setting it here. So in fact, I could set it. I might already have the entity ID at this point. And how about when I give it 1, I then send your entity ID. So instead of giving them an entity ID via request, the server gives them one whenever we change it. Yes. Yes. So I should send out an update here. And I would have the game client, which means I have the peer ID and I have the client ID. So I'm gonna be dismantling what I just did a little bit. So in here where I'm all this work here I don't need to do. Instead I need to I just need to update the data. I can make the thing. He's going to have an entity ID. So instead of having these two methods in lobby need ID, I don't do that. It's going to detect that they're dead, that they don't have an entity, and then it will give them one. So we've just got stuff to get rid of here. So this right here, we don't need to do anything because it will do it automatically. So I just need to update the game state. That's the problem. So this give or update peer ID goes away as well. And then here, give player entity ID, that goes away. There we go. There we go. Start server. I get spawned here, so there's a guy that will spawn there as soon as the client connects, or very soon after. So I'm gonna get the client in, I press the connect button, and he's in, he's detected, he's spawned. So the difference now would be I'm going to send a connected client its info. Something I probably need to make sure I'm doing on my end is verify. I guess I could verify things, but no, I don't need to. Okay, so now that I'm changing the multiplayer status, change the state, server to that. So we need to go back a level. We need to get in here where I'm changing the multiplayer state. I need to change the client's multiplayer state. And we could do it probably in here, because if we have a peer ID, then we have a client ID. So then I'm going to do client multiplayer or network status. Is that what that is? Is that what I made it? Find all references. No. It's a game state pointer thing, but this isn't being used by anything, so this can be my way of knowing its status. I will call it multiplayer state. There we go. Multiplayer status, bam. So that's what the server thinks your status is. If the server tells you your status is this, then your status is that. And I could have it to where every once in a while it will attempt to force you to update it. Okay, we've got multiplayer status getting updated. So now I can iterate through all the people who are in the lobby. Not in the lobby, yes, in the lobby. And send packet updates every update from the server. And then we should be able to see a guy moving around. So I'm going to keep it simple. I'm only going to do... No, I'm not going to keep it simple. I'm going to update as many as I want. And I'll update their velocity as well. Go big or go home. So every update, yes, so down here at the end of every tick, I want to update all the clients. So right now I'm just going to send everything. And then later I'll send more specific amounts. All right. Go find my packet code. 675. This is bad because it doesn't loop around. I only have 50 of them, so then that's going to crash very soon, especially now. So instead, that's 50. So I want to, I'm just going to put that into method. There we go, internal get packet ID. Don't do it. Never do it. Always write it the right way so you never have to worry about it later. Great. So what this will do is it'll just keep incrementing, and then it'll loop around. And there's actually even a better way of doing this, but we'll save that for when we need it. So now I want to search everywhere for current packets date to see if I'm doing this anywhere else. I am. So we have a few places that we need to change it to this method. So we'll do here. Nope, that's the wrong place. Here, this is where it goes. Get packet ID is in need of returning an int. Okay, that one's good. And then this one here. Great. So now my packet buffers will loop around, and I basically am limiting it to like 50. And if there's ever a problem, I will cry, and then I'll fix it. Okay, so now we're going to go back to 675. Nope, a little bit lower, but close enough. So we'll do 690. Create packet. And this is pretty much just the sample data. So we do 690 back down here. Okay, we need to send a packet that is all of the things. So what I would want to do to write this packet is first I need to figure out how many things I'm sending. So we're just going to go and do the whole length. So we're going to do int length. No, I don't need that. I wrote this so I could go and do it without thinking about it. So it's data length. The assumption will be that you are getting a certain type of thing over and over and over again. But I don't want to update everything every time. So I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check this. So I use the pointer. Yeah, so if I keep changing the pointer every tick, it'll be fine. Okay, so let me just think this out loud. So I want to update all of the entities. That's all I'm going to update in this packet. I could, so that'll be like a number. So we got a number, and then I have like X, Y, and then I have X, Y, and then I have X, Y, and then I have X, Y, and I go until I hit the end. That could be like really basic, but then I would want to also be able to go a little further. So I could have an update thing in here, but for now, let's just send it. First, I want to see some results, and then we'll do the next thing. So we're going to just send the position of the units. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to iterate through all of my entities that are there. I'm going to need to include their index, because I'm going to skip some of them. So I need their index and then their position. And I could just, I guess we'll see what the type is and send the type. Okay, entities, length. Okay, and then if I'm just going to always update the position for now. I'm not going to make this difficult. Great. We got that. Great. So we've got all right, let's see here. So Andrew says, why don't you try Vulkan? I don't know. You tell me. Why would I use Vulkan? So this is the index, position X, position Y. The other thing is that if they're in here, I would want to send their type as well. So this is a float, so we'll do a float. And I would want to send the unit type. And the type ID as well. So now that's good. And then I would also want to send whether or not they're alive. So I would do be active, which is a Boolean. Okay, so we've got, so far we've got decent amount of stuff here. I'm pretty sure this is all going to crash, but that's okay. We could send the team ID. For now. And then all this other stuff's nice and all, but not important. Great. So next thing is, when all of this is done, I need to send it to the client. Send to client. Do I still have the client ID? Trap is server. Yeah. Okay. So we would want to send this packet to all of them. So if I did -1, that was the trick I was going to use. Create packet. We do data. Then we do create packet, data length. All right. I always find like YouTube chat to be a little bit brain dead sometimes. Send packet to client. We'll jump in here. Send packet to client. So case client ID. If it's -1, then we should send it to all of them. Great. So that'll work. Okay, so we've got that. That should send it to the user. So here, client's processing. So we'll do great. So now we've got to iterate and basically do the opposite of what we did on the front end. Okay, so we're reading the packet, which would be this. Okay, we got packet, read packet. We just need size and bytes. Get rid of this val thing. I feel like there has to be like a lot of bots on YouTube because some of these questions are like kind of retarded. Stupid, sorry. Stupid. Okay, so this should be it. We're in, moving around. Okay, we get the game engine, click, F9, crash. Great. So the client is the one with problems. Ooh. Client not found. Interesting. Okay, so there's a couple problems now. Callbacks, no memory. Interesting. Send packet to client. There's no memory. Packet length is absurd. So there's something in here that just really messed it up. This is Visual Studio. I'm writing in C using the C programming language. I'm using Raylib to render and to get control input. I am using a networking library called ENET. I've separated the game into a module, and it's using an engine. So I have an engine and a module, and they're separate layers, so I have to communicate across them between the two. So the engine is an exe and the game's a DLL. All right, so here's where the problems are happening. I'm sending this packet and it's going crazy. There's something mad here. So let's see what it is first. And it could be that I have to make a packet each time and send it. I can't send the same packet 100 times. We'll see. There we go. So I'm trying to send a packet somewhere to everybody. And Look at that. Create packet. That's easy. So this is supposed to be data length. Great. Run that again. Server. Client. We're in the lobby. And it's running. So we're going to run off of this idea that something should be happening. And you know what? Nothing's happening because we're only reading. So now we should write. So now that we're here, we've got our entity and we need to set all of its values. And from, let's go back to where we were. It'd be easier to just copy this over so I know what fields I'm messing with. Okay, first off, this is going to get each packet. I can't guarantee that they're in the right order. I shouldn't be doing that anymore, so we'll do this. First packet's going to be my index. Also, is this giving me a void pointer? Yes, so I've got a pointer that needs to be cast to the, I'm going to do star int star, and then, so that gets me my index. And then here, great. So we got an index, now we have entity type ID, so we'll do int entity type ID. Next one's team ID. Next one is a Boolean. I'm sure this is where we could have problems, but we'll give it a try. Float is going to be position x equals position y. Then we'll take this guy. Great. Now that should be enough. We'll keep trying until we get it. Heh, that crashed. So it didn't crash the server though. So we will debug break. Jump back. Ah, yes. Okay. So here's the thing. If we're getting the ID, then we need to set the length to +1 the index. So if that length is less than or equal to index. Index is the length is going to be the newest one. So say length with 5, and I get an index of 6. then I need to set length equal to index plus 1, right? So say length was 5 and index was 5, then I would need to set length to 6. So that works. Then if index is above capacity, we should do a debug break. Well, no, we'll just run it wild right now and hope that things are safe and fun. Okay, we'll start this now. Again, same problem, or maybe a new problem. So we've got our length. It's better than before. Try this again. Okay, we got another one. So my length is 6, capacity that, index minus. So that means that we're not reading properly. So I'd want to put a breakpoint here, see what is actually happening. Okay, we got our packet, and it's minus. And it's minus, and it's minus, and it's minus. Okay, so let's go see our other usage of read packet and see why they're getting better results. Nothing really. So I think the problem is that we are iterating the full length of the entities list, but what we should be doing is not iterating at all. And for each packet, so instead of the for loop, we should do a while packet dot current index is less than packet data length. Okay. And what that'll allow me to do is go all the way to the end and then have it break. Okay, so we're here again, and index is messed up, packets in messed up, data length is 151, current index is that. We read a packet here. Why are we reading something here? Why? That's the initial problem. I think we just, we copied something we didn't need to copy. And that's going to throw everything off. Because we read it up here. Okay, we're here again. So length is 6. Index is negative a billion jillion. Packet type ID is 2. So what is it that I'm doing wrong? Star, pointer, star, packet, size of int, star, pointer, star, star, pointer, star. I wonder. I guess it would be worthwhile to jumping into this and just seeing what the data is at that point. Okay, so we got packet type here perfectly fine. We've got 151. We go here and we're minus. I'm imagining this is related to the way the data is packed, but I need to look at the memory to figure that out. Oh, found it. So here it's taking in a packet pointer, and I was not passing in a packet pointer. I was passing a pointer to a pointer, or I dereferenced my pointer reference or whatever. It's just a stupid move. Made a mistake. So that would fix that. Okay, and we will run this server client. Is anything crashing? No. Ah, okay, it worked. So this is the client on the right, and I have the server over here. So I'm just going to move stuff around, and you notice things are moving. And they're really moving. You know, when I like attack this guy, he moves. And my guy moves. Look at that. Look at the start of a networked game. So these guys are on the same team, so you can't hit them. All that work paid off. Easy peasy. So what was I doing? Why did I have to... Oh, because here we're receiving a packet pointer, whereas when I'm writing the packet, we weren't using a packet pointer. So when I copied between the two, they worked a little differently. They both take packet pointers. Oof, that's good. So that's join lobby, show state, spawn player. I did not spawn the player yet. So to be officially at that point where everything works, I need to spawn a player. I also need to send the client data to the client so they can have their entity IDs updated if it changed. And I had the client ask for it, but I need the server to send it out. Okay. So we'll just write update entity ID real quick. Right here. So we'll do internal update entity ID. We'll send the game client's peer ID or whatever I did with the other internals, which is peer ID. So I'll send the peer ID and then I'll send the entity ID. Great. Okay, we jump up to the top. Let me just create a packet. Basically copy as much as I can, save some time. Server, update entity ID. Okay, great, write the packets. Find the guy off of this. We got him. Trap send to client, data length, client ID. And we have it. See how fast that was? That was quick. If I don't have any bugs in my code, it'd be real quick. Okay, so now we're at this point. And we need to do game state update. Find that case statement. Do case, piece server, update entity ID, break. Let's make sure I have break at the end of that one. I do. And instead of all this extra stuff, I just need to read one value, which will be entity ID, which is an int value, so we'll just use our existing one, go through this, and we do game state pointer entity ID for player equals int value. Done. Run. Run. Server. Client. Boom. Client is here. So I'm trying to move the client, but the client doesn't have ownership of its position. The server does. So I'm the server on this side, and I can move. But when I go to the client here, he can't. He's trying to move, but he can't actually move. His attacks don't do anything. Nothing comes through. So the server is going to be the authority, and we have to send commands to the server. So when the player wants to update his position, he needs to tell the server, and then the server will just assume the player is not cheating. And later you correct that, but assume the player isn't cheating yet. They'll cheat later. I guess I want the client to not feel like they're jittering around. That's great. That looks good. Oops. So if I can start having the goblins... Ooh, crashed. Interesting. I'm going to have to write some better logging for that. That'll be fun to figure out. Well, anyways, let's check in what we have. Okay. I could send more information. I could display more information. I could draw the circles that represent the weapon for every unit in the game instead of just the player. So for example, this circle, the red one, not the mouse one, that one, you can update that one. I could show the attack green so they see that you're clicking. All right, great. Okay, so why are we trying to send packets to the client when there's no clients? Because I wrote it that way. So if it's -1, then that's great. But if it's -1, okay, great. We're in. And also, why am I showing key pressed? Thought I turned that off. Okay, great. Great, great, great. Okay, so the only thing that the player has control over is their specific entity. There's a few commands that they have access to. They can interact with things within a certain distance of their character. The server would be able to verify if it was even possible what they're trying to do. Their position is limited by reality, so they can't jump super far, but for now, I need them to be able to send their position updates when their position changes. So just to get that part done, we would have server, you know what, I kind of want these to be grouped and separated, so I don't have to keep thinking about it. So now we're going to do update position. Okay, great. So I'm going to send to the server that I need my position updated. Here it's happening in process packet change state. We need to do it as part of the loop like in the other one. So that would be in GM update, and it would be at the end of the method. Yep, down here. Oh no, it's too much code. Ooh. That's why everything should be in tiny functions that only have 5 lines of code or less. Professor's getting wrecked nowadays. Okay, so we're writing that, and then we don't need to iterate, we just need to send 2. So it's just going to be literally this. Done. Take that out. Great. Send to server. Great. And then we just need to get the player's entity and its XY position. We also need to verify that the player is in the right state of mind. Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll get if player client's game state pointer player client. How about this? Player entity ID greater than or equal to 0. Great, you have an entity. And since it's greater than or equal to 0, I can fetch the entity. Bam. Okay, we make a packet, go through, player entity, place this, that, great. And now the server will receive a P client server update position packet. Perfect. And then we'll write another one of these methods for fun. So it'll be like this one. We'll assume that they're still pointing to the correct entity. And then when it doesn't work, have fun. Okay, position X and position Y are floats, so we will use floats. Here we should change them back to float. 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 Great. Internal change multiplayer status. Interesting. Why was I basing it off of that? I'm beginner. The programming, it's so hard. What about programming is hard to you? So update client. Oh, that's what I did. I messed that up. I changed them both. Oof. Okay, so this one is actually that one. Change multiplayer status. And that gets it to the thing over there. So one of these is, I'm mixing kinds here, and that's why it's getting confusing. So, like give or update entity ID. I think that one needs to be deleted. Update entity ID sends a packet, but I'm processing a packet, and I'm trying to do update player position. So this is actually the server's getting updated, and I don't need this method. I just need to get the entity and go from there. So I need to read the packets basically. So let's just do that. Entity ID equals star int star, and then we do read packet size of int. Great. Next we need to do these guys. So we'll just do that. Pause, float. Great. So now we need to fetch that entity, and guess what? This is so easy. If entity ID is less than game state pointer entities.length, then we will get the entity and update it, which will be entity. Remember, if you can't articulate why something is hard, you might just be not paying attention. Okay, I'm here. I'm definitely sending packets. The problem is that I'm updating this person's position. And what I need to do is, if it's the entity player, we don't want to update their position, because we want them to own their position. We're just reporting the position out. So that would be back into the server when I'm doing the updates. So send game state for the units. I need to fix that thing crashing, because it shouldn't crash if the server comes out. It should just say, hey, server disconnected, and then go from there. So there are some things I want to fix. They're easy to fix. So in here, if what are we doing? We're sending this packet with the updated information. We're reading them. We're updating them. So if player game dot player entity ID equals entity ID, not equals, then we're going to update their position. Otherwise, we're going to trust that the information we're getting from the client is valid. We're in. I get spawned here. I try to move, nothing happens. So move this over here and move this over here. I move around. So what am I doing wrong? I'm sending my updated position to the server. The server has received it. Server process packet, update position. Gets it, it floats. Am I sending floats? Yes, I'm sending floats. Okay, and I don't think it's the packet. Okay, so if player entity does not equal that, so let's jump in here, see if the client has an entity ID or not. Okay, we get here and he has none to start. We'll give him a moment and he'll get it back. Okay, and he still has none. And that's the problem. So let's wait for him to get spawned. Come on. Did that break everything? Guess we'll try again. So this will be the client. This will be the server. I'll wait for him to spawn. He spawned over here. I'll move the server guy over there. Next, I'm going to hit this breakpoint. And I have entity ID 7. So let's go in here. It's like, so what is the problem? You know what? So it goes through, and then we get targ0, targ0. Why are we getting targ0, targ0? That's interesting. So what's happening is I have not initialized my entities with their entity IDs. That's easy to fix. So that'll be in the ENET method. GM ENET first. And then I have my entities, which I've made 5,000 of them. So like I've done down here, I'm going to iterate through all of them. Entity, entities, entities. And what we're going to do is we're going to say entity ID equals I. So now the IDs will be initialized across, and I don't have to worry about that. Run it, and run this. Server start, and client start. Great. That's great. So what crashed? I think it's the server. So we'll do the server again. And this time we'll do client. As soon as client spawns, we get a crash. Position is being used without being initialized. Great. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. So when I make a unit, position, I'm setting position. Let's do that again. ND ID 0, position, pause Y. That's a fun thing, telling me something that would have saved me a ton of debug time and crashing my program. But what if I wanted undefined behavior? Okay, so I've spawned and I'm moving. I'm the client. I didn't spawn where I wanted, or I wanted the client to spawn, but whatever. So now we've got the server, we've got the client, and you know the problem is that I'm controlling my position perfectly fine. I'm not being interrupted by the server. Server pieces are moving, but my position over here, this guy, he's not updating. His information is not being sent to the server. It says I'm entity 7. Entity ID 7, which is okay. I exist in both places, but my update move is not happening. So client to server update position. Are we getting here? So I'd run the server, just see if we're even getting the packet from the client. Okay, we're not even getting a packet. Oh, we are getting a packet. So we'll walk through this, and I've got 0, and I've got 0. No, I've got a negative number. Okay. Oof, that's really bad. Why am I getting such a weird number here? Ah, because these are floats, not ints. Okay, and spawned. It draws these two big orange lines. No idea why. All right, you know what? Let's see what orange means. It's weird. It's very weird that it would draw that line randomly. Which means I'm probably writing data like I'm going outside of bounds, which is bad. Okay. So I'm not updating too well here. Server update position, entity ID, position X. If entity ID is less than the length, then we get it, we update its position. So I need to trace this all the way back up to the beginning. Okay, so we got position X, position Y. Let's verify that this packet's good here. This is coming from the client going to the server, so this will be the client and this one will be the server. Interesting. So here for Y I've got 0, and here I've got 0 as well. So the packet that's being sent across the line should be zeros. So that's not the problem. But what happens when it changes? You know what? Let's do a little printf here. No, I don't need to do that. I know that these values are fine because I could see the client moving around and he's fine. So there's something else here that I need to look into. So we've got write packet is taking in a pointer. Here I have a packet, so I'm turning it into a pointer. That's great. It needs, there is potentially a problem here. So we got packet, void, size in bytes. Yep, those are fine. We're looking fine. I mean, everything else is working. So we do send it to server. We've sent it with client update server position. We go to case. We read the first item. So let's go back to my packet here. Oh, cool. Okay. So the first packet is that, which is good. I think I read 4 on the other side, so we're kind of getting closer. This one's good, and then I have 2. So what do I not have here? I don't have the entity ID. The entity ID is quite important, which I can get the entity ID from the server. The server should be the authority on your entity ID. So I don't, in fact, need that. That's where the issue is. Because the packet's going to have the peer ID, and I can figure it out from there. So here I'm doing entity ID. That's wrong. I should be using the packet. Packet has peer ID. I use the peer ID to find the client, and then from the client I get what I need. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a method so I don't have to keep doing this, which is going to return the entity ID. From peer ID. So then we could say here, are you making Quake 3 style client server? Yes. Yes, I am. I am 100% doing that. Welcome, Gare Games' wife. Those Twitch emotes are the best. Yeah, so I'm doing Quake 3, following a lot of the Quake 3 architecture, which is really good. This is like highly recommended. So I have a UDP IP socket that queues into the event queue. I have your keyboard mouse input queuing into the event queue. And so I have a event loop. And so all of the packets are going through that event loop. That then comes into here, and my client and server, they're actually just one module, and I just check to see if you're the client or the server. So, there isn't a separate module. And then you get to communicate to the server. If you're the server, you're going to communicate to the clients. I don't have virtual machines in the sense of I don't have a custom language that you have to compile or anything like that, but I do have the DLL acting as its own enclosed unit. So whenever I want to render things, I'm actually calling the engine to do the rendering. So that makes it a lot easier for me if I need to change to, quote, why you don't try Vulkan. I don't know what's up with the chatters here, by the way. They're like half awake. They ask you questions. Like, they're really bad questions. Like, have you ever developed a web before? And I'm like, dude, go use Google Translate and ask the question that you want to ask and then make it English. But freestyle here, at least ask good questions. Yes, I'm doing that. I didn't have this problem on Twitch. It seems like YouTube has a different questioning pattern. So this is really nice. And I'm using as much as I need from this. All right, so I'm going to get the entity ID from the peer ID. I've done this a million times already, but we're just going to loop through. Player client is type that star p client equals, and then we could do array get game state pointer player clients with an S and I clients, and then I want to do p client dot peer ID equals peer ID if peer ID. So then I will do int result equals -1, and if we get -1 it means it failed to find them, and then we're going to return p client dot entity. Okay, and then we can return res. Okay, so now I have what I need. Entity ID, correct positions. Let's see if it works. If it works, then the players will move around in both the game and the client. If it doesn't work, we're back where we started, which is okay. All right. And we are here. We are writing the packets. Great. Let's continue before it crashes. Good. We're up here in the top left corner, and I'm moving around. This is me. I'm a client. I'm able to move around. Now, I'm going to push this to the right. So, client. Now I'm going to drag over the server window, and I'm server. Now watch this. If this works, look at that. And you want to know something? I'm going to go off on this real quick. It took me about the same amount of time to figure out how to do networking in Unity, except now I have complete control over the network. Whereas in Unity, I would be struggling against their silly component system. And instead, I have total control over how packets are sent, when they're sent, how to make something owned by the server versus a client. I have total control now. And all I had to do was struggle for what has been maybe 2 days. And now I have it. I have the player moving around. I have the player being able to connect to the server. And in, you know, a few more brief moments, I'll start having these little circles drawing in the right spot on the screen. And then you'll see the goblins. We'll have the goblins over here have their little ball that shows where their weapon's pointing, so that when they click, they attack in that direction. And then I'll start having AI, well, game AI, not the weird AI that you find on the internet now. Just like, you know, artificial intelligence, aka game enemy, computer controlled enemies. Start having the goblins move around. You kill them, and they're gone. And then you can make more, and just simple fun stuff, right? And the server will just keep growing and growing in its own awesome way. I mean, this is sweet. This is sweet. You don't get to see this every day, you know? Okay, so when I attack as a client, I need to be able to send the server that, hey, I did this, I attacked. You need to know that I attacked. So then the server is going to receive the attack. And the server is going to say, oh, yes, you were able to attack. As a client, I'll see the attack. I've noticed though here is I can click and hold on the server. If I click and hold it, it shows the whole time. But if I'm on the client, for some reason when I click, it doesn't show the full time. And something that, to me, that's what I'm guessing is there's something on the server end that's knocking that state. Because it doesn't need to be, like, I should be able to, as a client, trigger this. There's no packets that we're sending that should be doing that. So I imagine there's another bug. Just for a nice little experiment here, I'm going to make the goblins move back and forth. And I'm going to have, I guess I need to like store their target or their destination. So I can store the destination. And the server is the only one that needs to know about that. So we can just do, let's do destination, and then we'll do Boolean toggle dest toggle. And all this is going to do is going to make the little goblins move back, left and right, left and right, left and right, left and right, left and right. Purpose of doing that is going to be so that I can demonstrate a lot of the movement on the screen from the network so that it seems somewhat alive. And then when I attack those units that are moving, they're still going to try to move, you know, left and right. So like if I push him all the way to the right, he's going to try to go back to the destination and go left and right on that. So that's the plan. I'm only going to have it be in the x-axis, and I won't care about the y. So for the goblins, I'm going to make all the goblins have. So if entity type ID equals goblin, we'll make their destination equal let's have that equal 50. Oh no, let's have it be their position X and have it be their position Y. That way each of them have their own. Okay, great. So now, if you're less than the X position, if you're less than, no, we'll use the Boolean for this that I added. Okay, we go to GM update. We've got your input. Okay, so I think, yeah, this is interactions down here. So I'm going to do okay, great. This will be the first enemy. It'll be dumb. It will do pretty much nothing important. And if we are in vdest toggle, if that's true, we're going to the right. To the moving to the right, which means we need to set velocity up, and we're going to set it to 0. Yeah, let's see. So if we set it to 0.5, everything in the world loses velocity at this point. So it's not going to follow great physics. So instead, we should say, let's just add, do a vector add here instead. Great. So that is telling it to go to the right. That's telling it to go to the left. If source entity position x is greater than source entity position dot x, sorry, the destination x plus 50, then we do source entity b destination toggle equals false. Do the same thing over here. And we do minus. And then if we do x is less than that, we do true. Compile. Run. Start. F10. And here we go. So they're moving, but they're just like moving not a lot. Okay, so just to make things a little bit better, we will put 80 and we'll do 200. Just give it more obvious distance. Okay, and I'm spawned in. And they're kind of just like swapping. It's like constant swapping. It doesn't seem to be sticking. I gave it 50 as the variable length, so it just must mean I'm not doing enough. So velocity, we go to the right. We're adding to that velocity. Let's make it a lot more. Now, if my position x is greater than my destination x by 50, then I need to set it to false. The idea is I'm moving to the right, so that makes sense. If my position is less than my destination x minus 50, so basically I have this like pathway back and forth, then I should go the other way. So this should work. And it could be that there's something wrong a different way, but again, it's like, this makes no sense. All right, so I'm thinking it's a breakthrough thing. So I'm gonna take a look here. So according to this, our speed up rate is 0.6, our speed down is 0.5, so it actually does need to be 0.6. It was off. So we're gonna change it. We're gonna make them do 0.8, so they're like really fast. So they should have enough ability to, you know, move in a way. Yeah, so they're moving a little bit more. Oh, I think I know what's going on. There's something wrong with my math here. Okay. So if my position x is greater than the destination, you're welcome, plus 50, then I set to false, which means next time I'm going to move to the left. But I just don't see it moving enough. So why don't we change this to 500? Start again. You know what? What is going on? Build, build, build. Build. It's like going crazy. You know what? Could just increase the values here so there's nothing to hide. So it moves to a spot and then it just gets stuck. So let me make sure, sometimes you got to draw it, realize that you're making a big mistake. So if my position is the current position here, and I have a destination position that's here. Okay, say my position is this guy and this guy. Okay, and my destination is here as well. If I add 50 to it, that's here. And if I minus it, it's here. Okay, so wherever my unit is, if my unit's over here, he's going to be greater than both. Is there a way to get stuck? No, I mean, position X is going to keep going down. It is tough to sometimes reason through this, so I think I'll get it in a moment. I don't get why this is so hard. This shouldn't actually be really easy. Okay, so the idea is that my destination X and my position X are the same when it starts out. You know what, let's just print. Let's print what our position and our destination is and just see if it wiggles, and also print left versus right. So this should be right. And this one will be left. And then we can print out the positions. So we'll do digit. There we go. And then we'll do source int position X. Okay. I'm very tempted to see what we get. So if X is less than that, yeah, so we'll see how quickly this thing bounces back and forth. Okay, so left, and then right, and then left, and then right, and left and right. And if you look at this thing, it says it's like insanely high number. And that's because they're floats. So we'll try this again. Okay. So I noticed that it makes its way to the left when it starts, like it's able to move left fine at the beginning, and then it gets stuck. So according to this, yeah, okay, let's print out the velocity. Is the velocity getting dampened for these guys or not? They should be. So shouldn't have a crazy velocity. So we'll print out the velocity as well. No. There's no good reason. Okay, so I'm pausing it here just to look. And its destination is the one on the right. There's some sort of jumping happening. Is the server a client? No. Okay, so we've got left. And then right. Okay, I think it's something very like, you know, related to parentheses. And it might just be like, I don't know if C++ does it this way, but maybe C does. Nope, it's not the issue. Okay, so I'm going to spend a moment here thinking this through. So I'm modifying my velocity vector and making it positive. So that's velocity of positive is going to push me to the right. So let's run this again and just look at that velocity vector. It's increasing, and yeah, so it's like it's doing something. And at the beginning, is it at a higher amount? So I look through here and I've got a 0, and it's already doing it. Okay, so that's weird. How many years have you been programming already? So I started about in 2005-ish. So 20 years. And this is not my main language. I have over 12 years now, 13 years in C#. So 13 years. Programming for over 20 years. As far as C goes, I learned C a little bit long time ago, and now I'm getting back into it and taking it very seriously. So I know this language pretty well, but I'm not an expert. I could be considered an expert in like C# development land, but it's not like it's not that I'm not that interested in it, to be fair. Okay, so my next thought is that the destination vector might be a little off, but let's look at it again. So destination is pretty fine. Doesn't look that bad. So if position X, all right guys, this is one of those things that you learn and it's really funny. Right here, if you're a noob, it could have taken you years to figure it out. This right here, if you accidentally put a semicolon at the end of an if statement, it'll always run the next block, because what it thinks is that your if statement ended and you started a new block. And that's what happened here. Love it. All right, and now they'll wiggle a long distance. Yeah, they're going crazy. And they're going way too fast. So we're going to go back to here and do 0.6, 0.6, and then we'll do 15, 15, giving a total travel distance of 30. And, okay, that's wrong. Compile, run. There you go. Now he's going fast. But so does the player. I think the player can do that. Oh no, the player can't do that. They don't move that fast. So what is it? I think the player has a limit. I've set like a velocity limit on the player. Those goblins shouldn't be going that fast. Yeah, so there's a max velocity for players. It's 30. And our speed up rate is 0.06. 0.6, not 0.6. So I have to put a 0 here. Compile, and I don't. They're never going to get that max speed because of the dampening effect. There we go. Now they're moving. And now I can hit them around. And they'll move up and down, but they'll come back to where they're supposed to be. But they're not going to come back to the Y value. So I can push them together. Great. So now I'm going to load the client. And client's connected. And I should be receiving the same sort of wiggling pattern as the server. And if I move them around over here, they should move around over there. They do. Look at that. Perfect. Okay. Lots of progress. Wiggling goblins. Oh, they're not smart. Oh, man. I'm really surprised. I got like 15 people watching on Twitter. Okay, so let's see. What do I want to accomplish now? If I show the position of the player's hands, then that makes things look a little bit more realistic, and then I can control the goblins' hands, and then I can have them have weapons, and then I can have them do attacks, and then I can show the attacks happening, and then you start having excuse me, a game. So that would be good. Okay, let's see. It's crazy because I'm doing it to where, like, I could do some things that would make it nice, like server-side prediction. Because as soon as the server, say I do this, run the server, and then I run the client, and if I drop the server for half a second, boom, it's still doing stuff down here. Like, it's still behaving, but then it crashes. So there is an element of the server is going to keep, like, it's going to keep trying to process the game using what it would, like, because I'm not using random, I'm not going to use randomness. So I don't need to have random numbers synced across the system. So what's happening is when the server goes down, it's going to behave, the world's going to continue to behave. So the monsters will still behave like they would have if the server was up. But when the server comes back, it's going to synchronize where they should be. So if you start attacking them, it might not show that you're attacking them. So it like helps with the movement, but doesn't help with the interactions. So I've got there's a lot of things with the networking code that you can do. Okay, so I've been going for about 3 hours, and I actually said I would stop at this time. So I have a Discord, which you can join if you want to chat with me after the stream. And then I also am probably going to keep streaming during the week, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes in the morning, 6 a.m. Eastern. So that would be 6 a.m. Monday through Friday is what I'm trying to do, and then 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, generally speaking, for both of them. So that's kind of my schedule, and then Saturday I'll do 9 to noon like I did today. But yeah, check out my Discord. If you like what you've seen, feel free to give me a follow on YouTube or subscribe on Twitch. In any case, thanks for watching, and I'm always happy to answer questions, but I won't answer ones that are really dumb. So at least try to formulate your sentence. I was asked about, have you ever developed a web before, and I'm assuming the question was, have you ever developed network code before, or have you ever written a web app? And the answer is both. Yes, but if I don't know what you're asking, how can I answer the question? I'm just guessing. So I'm very happy to take on questions, but they need to be at least kind of formatted in a way that I know you're trying. So anyways, I'll see you all soon, and thanks for stopping by, and I will be back shortly, of course. Y'all enjoy your weekend.